Hey everyone, very excited to have you all for our 100th episode. As a special treat, we wanted to do a bit of a throwback, so we've made our 100th episode sound like our first episode, in that the sound quality is very poor, at least on my track. It's really bad for the first 2 minutes, then it gets actually listenable after that. Though still very bad. So enjoy 100 episodes, everybody. Thanks.
All right. We are recording.
You recording this on this software?
I'm just recording on the thing.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. All right.
Brian, we've done it.
What do we...
It is episode 100.
It's the centennial, right?
Friends, comrades, 100 episodes. Of course, there are more episodes than that, really, because there's a whole Patreon feed.
If you go into Patreon, there's hundreds of episodes.
Numbered. This is the 100th, and we've been planning this for months.
Mm-hmm. For once,
we've been putting together this. We've got so much planned. The main event, of course, we thought, for episode 100. We've got to go big. We've got to get a really, really good guest.
Guys, look.
Just think in your mind, who have you wanted to hear on Seattle Sucks?
If you guys can see us right now.
Here on Seattle Sucks.
Yeah, this person, due to their, I guess, job, you could say, due to their commitments to the city. I don't want to give it away. I don't want to say too much and give it away, but they showed up early. We recorded the episode, and if you guys can see us right now, we're giddy. We're very excited that you're going to hear this very special guest. Greg is just ear to ear. I am hopping out of my seat here.
You're thinking to yourself, gosh, oh my God, who did they get? Did they finally get Jenny Durkin?
Not just on the show, in my house. Jenny, come over and grab a mic. It's not Jenny Durkin. You got to think bigger, guys. This is somebody who's been in the news, somebody who is playing a big role out there, and we're so excited. I guess there's nothing left to do but roll that interview, right? What's up, dude?
Man, just trying to survive.
Yeah,
another day in paradise.
Just living that life, dude. Just having, hell yeah.
2 kids, wife now back at work, all the good stuff.
Oh, good times.
Well,
yeah,
we are so excited to have you on the show, Colin. Our big special guest for the 100th episode of Seattle Sucks. Our big get, we've got Colin, everybody. Long lost host of the podcast. The question on everybody's mind, I'm sure, where the fuck have you been? What is going on over there?
Yeah, you don't want to know. Just hold up. Proving, I think, that the nuclear family was a mistake.
I remember that.
Is untenable and needs to be abolished. But yeah, just a lot of domestic work, pretty much. Nothing fun to report besides watching a lot of movies. But that's
good.
That's about it.
I mean, I don't think, we wished you congratulations on the show with you on it. It's on the birth of your youngest child, because the second that happened, you disappeared from the earth.
Yeah,
congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations. Have there been any new children since then?
Are you planning a 3rd, 4th, 5th child?
Well, no, is the short answer. At least not right now, and definitely not again when the world is ending, I guess.
So not ever again then.
Exactly. Yeah.
You mean with the red horizon out there? It's not the blood red horizon isn't convincing you.
Yeah.
See, Colin, you have to keep up because me and Bren, we're not going to have kids because we don't like them. And Greg's not going to have kids because he's infertile. So we need to figure out, you got to keep up for the rest of us.
Oh, man.
It may or may not be true. Yeah, Colin, so you basically, like, the kid was born in, like, the first week of the lockdown, basically? Right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. April, and near the end of April.
Oh, okay. All right. And so, oh man, still very young. So then, so you've just been chilling, dadding it up at home.
Yeah.
And, stuck, unable to interact with the world at all.
Pretty much.
For fear of infecting your newborn child.
Well, I think maybe I mentioned this, and I'm not sure how interesting anyone will find this anecdote, but considering I haven't really talked to anyone for months, that's not even a joke. But it wasn't really so much our youngest, but our oldest daughter, who's going to turn 4 now because we've been in hell for so long. She was kind of the real problem that made doing anything at night pretty much impossible. In fact, I think she's still awake.
All right. You heard that, listeners. No Christmas gifts for Colin's oldest child this year. They have been bad.
Oh, yeah. Very bad.
It's little Z. Kept Colin away from you all.
Yeah.
Colin, did you watch the horror movie about the child who's terrorizing their parents called Z?
No,
I meant to send it to you.
I think you told me about that. I need to see that
Is it
one.
real?
Yeah.
Well, I'm living it, so
I didn't realize there was a documentary filmed at your house.
yeah. Unfortunately.
Oh, man. So do you wear your Bane mask when you handle the kids to prevent the spread of illnesses?
Yeah, when we go out, we're all masked up. We're doing that. Well, but we don't really go out. For better or worse. In my opinion, mostly worse. But yeah, we're pretty much honestly holed up here, and I'm going a little bit out of my mind, I think.
Yeah.
Well, many happy regards to your whole family.
Thank you.
I look forward to meeting your second born at some point.
Probably when they're graduating college or something.
Right.
That's right.
When the time release safe door on the bunker that you live in finally kicks open.
They come out like Brendan Fraser,
They'll actually come out to the horror that Brendan Fraser assumed was awaiting.
Yeah.
Desolate wasteland, like burned over.
Yeah, like coming out of your rubble just in time to see like flames lighting the horizon and Lord Humongous just driving his convoy.
Magnolia,
yeah, over what used to be Magnolia.
that whole Andre's going to roll up the Magnolia bridge and blow it behind him.
Hell yeah.
That'll be the end of your peaceful little Magnolia life, Colin.
That's gonna be Andrew Lewis will have changed his name to Lord Humongous.
Dead, glassy eyes right now, shaving his head into a mohawk.
Follow me to Bullet Town.
Oh man, fuck, we missed you, Colin.
I missed you too. Big happenings for you too, right, Brian?
Show, right?
Well, yeah, big happenings for me that Greg just talked right the fuck over, but don't worry, we're used to it. He basically lives at our house now, so
that's what
so
I was
yeah. The big happening for us is that we also have a child. It just turns out he's a teenager.
Would Did a teenager drink all your beer, Brian?
Teenager drink all your beer, smoke all your cigarettes, and eat all the food in the fridge. All those are true except one. But yeah, no, I'm assuming you're referring to the marriage, and it was very nice. Colin, it was very wonderful, and we had a great time.
I'm glad you're able to do that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, since none of my friends or family actually listen to this show, I can't say it is nice to have a wedding that's only like 4 people.
I bet.
It's pretty sweet.
I bet.
Yeah.
That is the way to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For sure.
But yeah, man, we've been getting like nothing but listener feedback telling us how much they hate the show, how it really went down on like April 1st or whatever. It went downhill. So we're glad they're going to be back for all future episodes.
I hope so. I do hope so, if you'll have me. It sounds like Greg has kicked me off the island.
Well, I mean, I was going to ask you what you've thought of the ongoing quality of the show, because I know you've been diligently keeping up and listening to every episode of your own podcast.
Well, so here's the thing. I mean, I'm not joking. I haven't listened to any podcast since the birth of my second child. That's not
doesn't make us feel better.
I feel like
any podcast, not a single one.
Picture needs to be painted here, because the level of depravity, like deprivation that you were living in, does not compute to anyone outside your household. Like, what could possibly be going on?
Well, yeah, I mean,
not pass the time with a podcast in your ear.
Okay.
Like, paint a picture for us.
Oh, sure.
Why should we never have children?
Well, I wouldn't say you should never have children, but I would say that
just not these children.
Well, not these children in these conditions. I think that the pandemic, while having a profound effect on literally everyone, has had a pretty extreme effect on kids, especially slightly older kids. And so, I mean, part of the problem for me was I still have to work, right? And luckily, my wife had time off. I started a new job, so I didn't qualify for any of those leave benefits because I hadn't worked there long enough. So
nice.
I didn't have any leave to take. So I've been working that whole time, part-time still. But then obviously watching 2 kids at one time, even when you don't have a job, is kind of tricky. So I would have to kind of switch out. I'd be working and then something would go wrong, or I'd have to watch a kid. And so basically what that meant is, during the day when they're awake, you could work maybe 2 hours, but you'd have to work 5 hours of time, Yeah. So on top of just living with kids, there's no time for literally like anything else. So that's the short version of this. But we can't be alone. In fact, I know that we're not alone because I've heard similar stories from people with slightly older kids that there's just there's nothing. There's nowhere to take them. There's nothing to do. They can't. Some can go to school. Some can't. It's very tricky. Because kids don't want to be holed up in the house.
No, of course not. No.
Yeah.
Their family, yeah.
No, it's got to be awful. I mean, they got to be about to explode. But I do want to return to this podcast business because I'm very concerned that your children are not hearing me and Greg's voices, and that you're not playing it like as background in the house to soothe them,
like verbal stimulation.
That is fair, and actually, I used to. When I was a stay-at-home dad for the oldest one, I used to listen to illicit podcasts, but then I got in trouble. So, I can't do that anymore. So that is part of the reason why. Because otherwise, I would have just put a podcast on and listened. So I'm sorry. I've wanted to listen, but I've listened to nothing.
But you're worried that when mom comes in the doors, you might say, "Fuck the police."
Well, I'd hoped that she would say that.
You're just more afraid that Z is going to give like Greg's review of a Loving Spoonful album shared on the show.
Yeah, she's going to go off on her grandparents about being boomers.
Greg's currently in jail for making fun of boomer
John
rock.
Sebastian was a beautiful songwriter. Okay.
Well, shit, man. Damn, Colin, it's good to have you back. It's
Yeah,
good. It's good to have it's good to invite a third back into our relationship, Greg.
Yeah. So, Colin,
Yes.
you've prepared some content for this episode.
Oh yeah, we're waiting for the article you want to read.
Yeah. Take it away, Colin.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I got that far.
Hey, it doesn't stop us.
Yeah,
Well, Colin, lucky for you, we picked something out just for you. All right.
Aw.
Yeah.
It hits everything. It hits your job. It hits your,
fantastic.
it hits your second job as a parent.
Oh, perfect.
And knowing that you've gone through these things with your, kids / students, I think we're ready to go through this article in GeekWire and hear your thoughts
hell
on
yeah.
it.
GeekWire, my favorite.
All right, this is Colin's from GeekWire. It's
This is the Colin's computer advice corner.
yeah, exactly.
We're getting some tech support for Seattle Public Schools from Colin right now.
So this is GeekWire. Seattle Public Schools return to remote learning gets off to rough start with technical problems.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so that's just the headline. Can you tell us
What problems have you had?
What should they do? What have they done wrong, Colin?
Well, did they try turning it off and back on?
Let's wait and find out.
Classic advice. The first lesson in remote learning is apparently have patience. We're already off to a smirky start here. I know what kind of article this is going to be. As Seattle Public Schools kicked off the new school year on Friday with another go at online teaching and learning, technical issues plagued the experience for many students trying to connect from home. Quote, we are currently experiencing slow internet and learning platform access due to the high volume of traffic this morning, the district said in an alert message to families that flashed across the SPS website. This has resulted in disruption of service on district-issued laptops.
So what I'm hearing is the students did a denial of service attack on the district servers. Is that right, Colin?
They just wanted to learn so much that the herd thundered right into that server. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so what's your advice at this point, Colin, as our resident computer guy?
Well, it's hard to know, but my guess would be don't privatize every single piece of your public public education apparatus. That would be just where I'd start, I think.
Okay.
But by the way, did you see? I think it was in Miami that some kid like DDoSed his high school and fucking brought down the fucking website for the high school.
Good for him.
Just for fun.
Yeah.
I mean, he learned more than anyone else that day.
That kid rules.
That is the 2020 equivalent of pulling the fire alarm.
Yeah, massive.
Successful DOS attack on your school's network.
God, that rules. That kid's so awesome. I want to get that kid on this show.
Yeah, seriously.
SPS's Department of Technology Services said teams were working on the issue and would update when they had a resolution. As of this afternoon, the district was unable to say how widespread the problem was, how many students were trying to connect, or whether the issues would be resolved before school resumes next week. Is this your job, Colin? I just know vaguely that you work with computers. Is this your job? Are you doing this, Colin?
I mean,
Are you on the team?
This is becoming everyone's job in tech. Let's just put it that way. But it's a real bummer when you're trying to be connected with services and you can't.
Yes. All right. So, quote, there is no doubt that this fall will be challenging, and I am thankful for the ways our families, educators, and staff are working together to help all students succeed no matter the circumstances, Superintendent Denise Juneau said in a welcome message on Thursday. Quote, one thing we have all learned during this pandemic is to expect the unexpected. I mean, Seattle Public Schools expected to be online for like months, right? I mean, are they saying that this was a surprise to them?
Well, Brian, it's not like they knew how many people were going to use the website or anything. So
yeah, it's not like they have like numbers for the amount of students.
Yeah, no way to anticipate how much traffic you're going to have.
Yeah. With more than 50,000 K through 12 students in Washington State's largest district, it was a rough start to an already complicated situation as families grappled with a return to school during a COVID-19 pandemic without the physical school. On social media, parents tweeted about trouble with school-issued computers, inability to access public online learning portals, and being booted out of Microsoft Teams classrooms. I can already tell you one problem they could get rid of.
I didn't even realize. Colin, do you use Teams at work?
I do have to use Teams at work, and it does indeed suck.
Yeah, it's fucking awful. Like,
do you have to use that, Brian, to teach?
No, we use Zoom, but the thing is that sucked. I have a bunch of friends that for a while in the pandemic, we've all now stopped doing it and just like bunkered down or whatever and stopped talking to anybody. But for a while, like every week we'd all get together on a video chat, right? And watch a movie or do trivia or whatever. And one of my friends works for Microsoft and like runs like website services over there and kept demanding that we use Teams. And then we used...
This person's not your friend anymore.
We used it like 20 minutes in. There was like an insurrection. And like everyone's like, no. Because we tried Google Hangouts and nobody liked that. And then we did Zoom and we decided it was that we could live with Zoom. It's not the best, but it was fine. And then the Teams experiment... Yeah, Teams went 20 minutes and everyone's like, no, just like quit it. They're like, no.
The language that was deployed there was pretty sounded like it was written by a chatbot AI.
A service provided by Microsoft.
Yeah. But yeah, GeekWire is just entirely written by chatbots at this point. If they had the option, some students abandoned school devices and tried using their own, but some tweets indicated that the connectivity problems persisted.
So they were able to get tweets out, and that's it. Just like sending smoke signals up. That fucking rules. Isn't like, so if they're, does it, so yeah, they've clearly outsourced the software to Microsoft. They're using Teams. Does that mean do you run Teams off of your own server, or is that all something hosted by Microsoft?
I don't know definitively. I think it's all hosted now by Microsoft.
So, right?
That would be my guess.
That would be really weird and antiquated to like a big networking thing like that you would like for some reason run on your own. You would want to like outsource that completely.
Yeah, that's kind of the trend for sure. And that's probably what they did.
So then the question is, I guess, like, if this is just they couldn't, like, Microsoft software, like, couldn't hack it, basically, like, in their servers? Because, like...
Yeah, well, I mean, if 50,000 people, who knows? Maybe it was configured in some weird way, and 50,000 people were all trying to connect to one thing at one time. I mean, I don't know, but this is part of why everyone hates software and computers. None of it works anymore, and... no one seems to really care.
I think we call that progress in the world of capitalism. So nothing works, but it all costs more.
Yeah, exactly.
There's only so many choices you have.
Yeah. Yeah, and you have to buy a subscription to all of them.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So in my own home, so in the chatbot's own home, in their pod, my eighth grader, in my own home in the cloud. Yeah. My eighth grader watched his school PC spin for 20 minutes as he waited to connect to an orientation meeting. I'm just picturing like at my own home, it's just the Sims house and like, it's just making emoji faces and stuff.
It's just someone holding their crotch
to
the bathroom that was never built.
There's like a storm cloud over their head because they're mad.
That would probably work better than Teams, like legit.
Just get everybody. They should just get them all into Minecraft and just teach them out of Minecraft.
I bet someone's doing that.
Is there a multiplayer function that would probably work better?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, this is
the same world.
This is what Second Life was.
So, Colin, I shit you not, Bryn has been looking online for like jobs doing childcare, like nannying and preschool and stuff online.
Yeah.
And one of them was using Minecraft to teach math and logic to like 5-year-olds.
Cool.
And they wanted like a certain amount of Minecraft experience, which I thought was very funny to me. And I was just trying to picture like
That sounds like a fucking sweet grip.
Like on Zoom trying to teach 5-year-olds Minecraft. I mean,
excuse me, rich 5-year-olds.
yeah, no shit.
5-year-olds of wealthy, stupid people.
Are we sure we're not pitching Parasite 2?
They should really, I mean, the school district should just basically like give up and just use Facebook. You know, everybody get on Facebook, can have their own network for the school. Everything can just exist that way. What are they going to be missing out on?
Boomers would be so mad if they got crowded out of Facebook. Like if all the kids came on,
they could silo it off.
All right, so they have some tweets from some of the parents here having problems, and Steve J says, "My son is in the same boat. Looks like Seattle Public Schools VPN network is completely collapsing under the load." I like this.
This is like, wait, this is a dad who's like weighing in on like,
yeah.
I read, I had like a spinning hourglass with a 7-word error message that I'm interpreting as we're asking you to do, Colin. But like, is that like, how does that pass the smell test to you that it's their VPN that's fucked up?
Yeah, it definitely could be.
Colin, maybe this will clear this up. His handle is at Bushido Coder, which I honestly thought was your handle, but I think this guy beat you to it.
He stole it from me.
We got at Native Voter here. It's possible that Seattle Public Schools vastly overestimates my ability to troubleshoot a VPN issue. Yeah, that's ironic. That's pretty funny, actually.
That's good, actually.
Yeah. What a fucking hell world! Like, you take all the worst parts of bureaucratic technology and then you subject kids to that.
Kids and their
and their parents.
Well, this guy right here gives like a little hint to what kind of hell world this is, which I hadn't even considered this, but it absolutely has to be true. He says aggressively administered Windows machines do not make for easy debugging when your kid can't join his class. So that's the other part of it too, is that these machines have to be like completely fucking locked up. Well, and like lock the fuck up. Yeah. So like as a parent, you can't even like get on it and like go into fuck. Yeah. You probably can't even look at the settings or anything or any of that shit.
There's remote. You know, the administrator and the IT guys can get on remotely and do that. So they're probably doing, the 5 of them are probably doing that for all 50,000 flight tickets now, going remote into each Windows machine and fixing it.
I like this. In California right now, they have rolling blackouts. But Matt Zeger says in Seattle, we have rolling connectivity issues since last night. So, you know, we're all suffering out here. But yeah, I love this. This is just like an endless, they just have like an endless series of tweets of parents complaining about not being able to fix their kid's fucking computer.
That rocks.
Yeah, this rules. I'm very excited about the future of school being entirely online. So at the college level for years, every university has wanted to go entirely online because there's a lot more money in it. And, you know, it has been the position of people that teach at them that would be an enormous fucking disaster as far as at least, you know, even pretending to do education. And it's nice to know that is 100% correct. It's nice to get a real world example that's 100% correct.
To the point that they, of course, like in every part of this pandemic, no one's wanted to like take any like serious action and leadership and like bold sort of stance and say like shit has to be genuinely different. I think that's very much the case with this. Like obviously they can't have in-person classes, but like they're also, everyone's clearly trying to basically do school as it was and is, but just online in these video rooms, you know? Absurd. I mean, they basically need to throw out everything about like what school is going to be for these kids for this year at least, and do something else. Just like from the ground up, like expect them to learn a lot fucking less. Like basically just like, okay, like every kid, you know, read a book. That's it. It's like, I'm like go back to like 18th century like tutoring, where it's like go read an old book and
you send out those like readers
and then get back to us. That's it.
Does Jeff have a autobiography yet?
He has to. There's no fucking way there's not a Jeff Bezos autobiography. That is what everybody should have to read.
Yeah, that's my vote.
Awesome. Yeah.
They should find if the Big Problems book ever had a manuscript written for it and kick that one out. Hold on, let's see. Jeff autobiography.
A1.
There's some book called The Bezos Letters. That's what everybody should have to fucking read.
That sounds like a C.S. Lewis title about like corresponding with a demon.
Yeah.
The Bezos Letters.
Oh my god, this collection of Jeff Bezos books is so fucking. Every title is so horrifying. Like Jeff Bezos, The Life, Lessons and Rules for Success. Very middle,
pretty generic.
But I like this one. Jeff Bezos, The Force Behind the Brand.
Oh man, that new Star Wars is really gonna rock.
Yeah, I mean, just fucking rules. Colin, as somebody who has children, my opinion was the kids should just, like Greg said, just not go to school for a year. And I actually think that doesn't matter. Who cares?
Yeah, I was reading something that there is a school of thought that suggests it really doesn't matter. And especially for younger kids, I don't think it matters as much as we think it does. And there are definitely more interesting ways that those kids could probably be spending their time rather than.
Oh, absolutely. Below high school, at the very least, there's like literally nothing gets learned.
Yeah. What is the point of going?
Yeah, there's literally no point in having them show up. It's fine.
There's development needs in children.
Yeah. But they missed a year. It wouldn't matter. Like if you didn't go to fourth grade, you'd be fine.
Yes, the very the schools that we have now in this country suck anyway. So but no, they do need to be doing something to do
for sure,
intellectually and socially.
Minecraft.
I think coding camp probably.
Coding camp. Oh,
TV or some shit.
Colin, did you want to launch your Magnolia Mindset Academy?
Yes, right. Well, Iron's hot. The Magnolia Mindset machine learning
Academy for child soldiers.
I can assure you that our VPN would never go down.
I'm seeing the tiny hands furiously double keyboarding, keeping it open as the enrollments pour in.
Yeah, our VPN is kept open with the blood of the non-believers.
Grown children with their greasy hands hopped up on brown, eating the Matrix.
Yeah, just keyboards covered in blood as they're typing.
It's the Magnolia Mindset to Freak pipeline.
All I see is new enrollments.
I can't remember if it was what you need to train the kids on. I think this happens in Hackers, where like one of them's not typing on the keyboard fast enough, so another one just gets on the same keyboard and is also typing. And you should teach the kids how to do that. Like that's what should be the kids need to be learning right now. How to type on one keyboard with two people.
Well, what is the more elite skill? Is it learning to cooperate on one keyboard simultaneously for double the efficiency that way? Or is it one supercoder coding simultaneously on two keyboards on two separate
Yeah, a la Swordfish, where Hugh Jackman is doing two computers at once, like he's Mozart and Bill and Ted's or something.
Yeah. Can't spike you, right?
There is a school of thought. You wouldn't be surprised to learn that there are many schools of thought, but there is one called pair programming, which is exactly the first one you described. Two brains sharing one keyboard.
Oh, boy. Wow. What about two sets of hands? That's what I want to know.
They actually sew them together like fucking Mangala and set them down in the chair, make them work one keyboard together.
Yeah, that's pretty much what my workplace looks like. or at least my home office.
Well, if Elon Musk gets his way, right? Like, will we? You've been following that, Colin? Like,
Oh
what
yeah,
if
that
his
brain
master
implant.
wants- Yeah, he wants to do an implant that and the old story of sort of connecting to the net,
Mhm.
jacking in,
Yeah.
whatever. Sounds
Let's-
cool, right?
it's all good and-
that as soon as it's available. Early adopter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, you gonna get that?
well, I want to. I think what is it in Neuromancer? I want to flatline. I want to be the ghost in the machine. The guy. It's basically you die and your consciousness is trapped in this in this alternate realm. I'd like to be that. I think.
Release.
Yeah.
As I was saying, the brain implant's all good until it starts to leak into your brain, and you have to go find a hopped up dolphin to suck the fucking information out and crack the code.
Yeah, and I can't wait to see the tweets of some guy in Las Vegas whose brains just caught fire.
It's gonna be what's the fucking Johnny Depp movie where he's trying to find the Necronomicon or whatever?
Johnny Mnemonic?
No, the one where
What?
he's hunting down the Book of the Dead or whatever. The rich guy
Ninth
finds him.
Gate?
Yeah, Ninth Gate, where the rich guy at the end lights himself on fire and he's like, I don't feel anything. It's gonna be that guy. He's gonna be typing on Twitter, just tweeting like one tweet every like half second, just flying through him. And he's gonna be like, I'm on, I don't feel anything. I'm so close to God. He's like on fire as this brain chip is burning his fucking skull. But yeah, it's gonna be that. I love it. I love the future. This is gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I thought you meant the what's the Johnny Depp film?
I was thinking Ninth Gate.
Transcendence.
Oh my god, that movie was bad.
Like the rest of America, I did not watch Transcendence.
Wally Pfister's like one feature film, directorial. You haven't seen Transcendence, Brian?
No, like I said,
So
like
it's about a guy who
I watched Lawnmower Man, so if I could get
his
it.
brain or something, and downloads his consciousness, and he's like he's a genius coder, like Colin and Elon Musk. He downloads his consciousness into him, and he becomes all powerful. It's great.
Yeah, like I said, I already saw Lawnmower Man, so I'm good. Like I got it.
It's a really like awesome next level idea that Wally Pfister just had to turn into a feature film as a director, for which he gave up his spot as Nolan's DP.
Yeah. Only he
made him rich and famous, and now he cannot go back because Nolan works with the Dutch guy now.
Yep. Only he could bring that vision to life of that movie that we all remember.
Yeah, yes. Only Wally Pfister, one of the biggest douchebags I've ever met. Biggest Hollywood parody of a Hollywood prick.
Hell yeah. Well, Colin, I mean, look, this episode's already off the rails. What do you think is the best hacker movie, Colin?
Oh shit. Well, like are we talking comic kind of hacking or
no? Any metric you want. Any metric you want. I take them all very seriously though, so just know that.
Shit. Yeah. I mean,
I like that one with Thor where he just hacks all the computers by kicking door. Yeah, where he like kicks doors down and like shoots people to like hack them. He's like
that's a Michael Mann movie. And that movie
I've not seen that movie, though I did work on it.
It took 2 attempts to watch it. It was so bad, but it has many fans. I know.
He's just like punching guys and like I'm hacking the mainframe, just punching people.
I mean, the original Hackers is funny for sure. It's based on real hackers, like real people.
Oh yeah, I read the backstory to it, which is insane.
The people that founded 2600, one of the oldest hacking magazines in the U.S. anyway. And there was a sequel. I think Hackers 2 with Skeet Ulrich, which was about Kevin Mitnick.
Wait, what?
Yeah, so Kevin Mitnick is he got caught and went to prison. Like his big thing was mostly social engineering, where he would just call up big companies and pretend to be someone, and then they'd give him access to their computers.
God, the past ruled. It was so awesome.
I mean, you can still do that shit. Like, I didn't tell you guys, but someone stole my SIM card, and I'm like, they stole my phone number, and right when my daughter was born, and I think they did it this way. I think this is the only way you can do it. You call in somewhere and pretend to be someone, and then somebody gives you access you shouldn't have. So he did that a ton of places, and I think mostly what he had done was like steal time on phones because that's what they love to do. But
just
he got caught.
Free shit. I mean, what's better?
Yeah. I mean, fuck. So when did Hackers 2 the fact that there's a Hackers sequel is the biggest news I'm going to hear all week.
Well, and there's a meta movie, and I mean, it's not really meta, but it's about that group of hackers from 2600, and they talk about hackers, and they talk about Hackers 2, and I wish I could remember what it was called, but I'm sure you can find it with just that information. But it came out in the 90s at some point. I mean, obviously after the first Hackers, and it's not made super well, but the story is interesting because it is about a real guy who was stealing stuff from companies, like basically being cool.
Yeah. I think he being zero cool, I think is what you mean to say.
Exactly. I it's not a hacking movie, but Pirates of Silicon Valley is.
I watched that, I think when it came out, I was like in high school because it was a made for TV movie, right?
Yes.
And I can attest it fucking ruled. And it taught me from a very early age. This is back when Bill Gates was still a public villain. And it taught me from a very early age that man fucking sucks. And it was that was every kid. That's, you know what? Fuck this year of school. Every child should have to watch Pirates of Silicon Valley and write a report about why Bill Gates is the villain of the film.
True that, yeah.
Well, I feel like when this pandemic ends, 20 to 30 years from now, we should dust off. We need to have some sort of hackers movie. That Colin needs to choose a hacking movie. That'll be our next Seattle Sucks movie event.
Why not Pirates of Silicon Valley? It's local.
Well, Greg, that would make sense, but I mean, Hackers 2 exists.
Do we have? How do we go? Do we have like? No, we did the article. What was the other thing we were going to do?
Oh, I have Loren Culp's thing.
Yeah. Colin, we got to catch you up on some politics.
Oh yeah, Colin, do you want to?
What's politics?
It's every day, man. So. To catch you up on the governor's race, we got this guy Loren Culp running. He's a sheriff, a constitutional sheriff.
My kind of man, for sure.
Exactly, and I'm sure that you probably helped him with this website and everything, so you probably already know this. But he has a solutions section.
Are they final, Brian?
Well, it is telling that the very first plank on his solutions page is titled "Homelessness, Drug Addiction, and Crime." Yikes. So I feel like he once this solution is done, he feels like they're good.
That one covers a pretty wide swath of humanity in this man's eyes.
Yeah. So here's from his webpage here. Homelessness in Washington is at a crisis level. I think we can all agree with that. So far, we're all on the same page with Loren here. we're all voting Culp so far. Many parts of our beautiful state have been turned into chaotic communities that resemble or are worse than conditions found in third world countries.
Okay.
I'm still kind of with him here. Many of my opponents have agreed with the current governor's assessment of the crisis and his proposal of spending millions in taxpayer money to build homes. This does not address the underlying causes of most homelessness, which is mental health issues and drug addiction. Building new housing for the homeless without addressing the core issues will result in new ghettos, disease, increased crime, and more deaths. Washington needs real solutions for addressing the root cause of homelessness.
It's almost boring in a way. How boilerplate it is. It's like, yeah, we could just shoot down every one of those. It's almost too easy. I don't know.
I want you to know, Colin, this began with Greg saying, yes, let's definitely read this.
Brian made it sound good.
I literally told him what was in it.
I just heard that first headline. I thought he was going to say some really like wild shit, but he's just saying like homelessness has nothing to do with economic issues. It's drugs and mental illness, and we need to lock those people up. I mean, it's like we've done this. You know what I mean? Like, I was really hoping for some real like wild QAnon shit. You know, real posse comitatus, bathroom sickos, save the children. I don't know. Like, he doesn't even like say like we need to round up all the homeless and put them in camps. Like, I mean, he's running for governor. He could at least like try.
Well, his first so he has 3 bullet points. The first one being zero tolerance, where if you
homelessness,
well,
drugs and crime, zero tolerance for all those things.
Well, as he said, if you are any of these things, it's because of drugs, right? So if you're homeless, it's because of drug addiction, right?
Drugs, it's because of drugs.
Basically, yeah.
Your crime, it's because of drugs.
So under zero tolerance, he says, some on the left like to sell the idea that it's compassionate to not arrest drug addicts. It's exactly the opposite of compassion to leave someone in the cycle of addiction. In fact, it's probably the cruelest thing you could do to these people by allowing them to stay in the cycle of addiction and poverty. The truth is, tough love with zero tolerance policies work when they are coupled with drug rehab facilitated by drug courts and tough enforcement of narcotics laws. Now, the funny part about this is the drug rehab part that he mentions here, he actually then says, no, we're not going to do that later in the thing.
Well,
it's pretty funny.
That's just so like worded with such restraint. Like, this is actually like basically that's a very mainstream line. Like, I'm really unimpressed by that's a very basic, just like boilerplate. He basically sounds like a Democrat. It sounds like he might actually be trying to win the governor's race in Washington State, which is not what I was hoping for.
Right wing law and order shit is boilerplate.
That's what I mean. This is just old boring shit.
Yeah. Well, what about this, Greg? Empowerment. Empower our law enforcement professionals to actively take drug dealers and addicts off the street.
Okay, yeah.
Currently, our lax drug policies invite drug dealers and addicts to Washington State because they know they won't go to jail, and the state will provide resources for them to stay in their addiction.
Yes,
those policies end.
That's exactly why everyone's out on the street.
Those policies end on day 1 when I'm elected governor. So, yeah, I love because this one has the more of the right wing grievances you're looking for. Yeah. One that the homeless are not from here, which is always my favorite one.
the addicts too.
Well, the interchangeable,
the criminal class.
Yeah,
I think to sum it up.
Yeah, are not from here. Where are the homeless from in other states? Who knows? But the ones here, not from here. That's for sure. But I do love just having a bullet point in bold that says empowerment, and then right after say empower law enforcement. to ones with all the guns need to be empowered.
Honestly, it's not like it's really moderated. Really, it's like he's got like a woke word up there at the top in bold, and if you want to read more, then you know where he's coming from. But even that is pretty. I mean, that's the Democratic line: empower cops to solve our problems.
Yeah, it fucking rules. So finally, he finishes with partnership. After touring a community-funded rehabilitation program in Southern Washington, notice they doesn't say which one. It became clear to me that communities are more equipped to manage the drug addiction problem in Washington than the state government. While success rates in government-funded programs are historically low, I'm going to go and say, said the opposite, just right above that, but that's okay. This is 3 paragraphs you would have to read, so who could keep a thought in your head for 3 whole paragraphs? Well, the success rate for government-funded programs are historically low. The success rates for community-funded programs that enforce rules and programs of accountability are often well over 75%. That is a lie.
That's not,
that is a lie. As a governor, I will empower these programs to expand the efforts across the state with little to no impact on taxpayers. So basically, partnership.
I will not fund any.
Empowerment is empower the cops. Partnership is public-private partnerships to offload our criminal class.
Not even that. It's what he's saying is we're going to turn over the entire space as much as possible. We're going to remove funding, any public funding for this, to open it up as a purely free market enterprise, so that these beautiful for-profit, rehab centers can run the tables. Awesome, cool.
Yeah. So that's Loren Culp. I'm looking forward to all of us together, arm in arm, three of us, marching down to cast our ballot for Mr. Culp there. I personally think that we are still on countdown till he reveals that he's a QAnon guy.
I know you've been saying that from the beginning, just because he's like a hardcore constitutionalist, like Quasi Comitatus type sheriff. It's a big assumption that he's this wild person, and either he's got. I mean, look, it's just going to get started soon, so who knows? But maybe this is all coming from his people, and he hasn't really had a chance to get out and start talking. That could be.
Yeah. Well, that's what, we might get fucked out of it because of COVID, because he's not going to give like public speeches. Whereas if he was out giving some, we might actually get this. Or if there was a debate.
Yeah,
Holy shit.
Be a debate. Colin, you cult man?
Yeah, it sounds like he's got some real great ideas. But, I mean, to what you said, Greg, this does sound very consistent with the Seattle is Dying or the Rufo Brain Bug brand of Seattle law and order politicking around this whole crisis that we're in, which is interesting because I think that's sort of, this was the great myth of the council races, that all these for us anyway, reactionary people, was somewhat moderate language, right? Insidiously moderate language that was crafted to appeal to both the left and the right might be successful, but it's hard to see this working.
Well, it's statewide, right? So like that, you can see this failing utterly in Seattle and King County even, and I think that's true. I mean, I don't think this guy has any. This guy won't get, could be lucky to get double digits in King County, but the rest of the state, like, who the fuck knows? I mean, if this guy's crazy enough to get turnout, then who knows, But that's what I'm saying. It doesn't seem that crazy. It seems boring. It's like it does seem like it's triangulated. It's weird. It's like it seems like it's triangulated to appeal to like your regular like homeowning law and order Democrats.
Yeah, I think you're
anybody else.
I think you're right about that, Greg. I mean,
because I see it failing on both counts. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. Well, because it's the weird Washington politic thing of Republicans sort of pretending to be Democrats.
Well, I just think this is if you're going to have a website, like, I think if you're a politician and you're running for some major office, you essentially go to the political science store of failed political science grads, and you have one of them make you a website, and all this shit is just like, it's like Mad Libs, basically. They just hand you like Mad Libs, and you just put like those 3 bullet points, like empowerment, solutions, whatever, were probably already there, and there's like, just put in what you want to empower. Like, it was like a blank that just said under it, what do you want to empower? And they just filled that in, and they just fill out the rest. So, I don't think any, we've long since passed the era where you could get a true crank website on a politician running for office.
But I want a true crank Republican candidate to run against Inslee, and this guy is supposed to be it.
Well, the thing is, I think if we got to hear him talk, like, if we actually got to hear him talk, I think we could get the crank out of him. But
a couple of months left. Jesus, there is only a couple of months left to this fucking election. Holy shit, dude. So, I mean, turnout's going to be determined by what the turnout is overall. I mean, it's largely going to be influenced by the presidential election, and that's up in the air. My bet all along has been lowest turnout election in decades.
Yes.
And then it's at which point it's a toss up that Trump could easily win. But who the fuck knows, you know?
Well, all of Eastern Washington is currently on fire, so this guy's base might be running for their lives currently. So that could affect it. I mean, who knows, right? We have a pandemic. We have fires everywhere. It's 120 degrees in LA. Who knows what's going to happen anywhere? Like, we can find out that just before the election, a meteor is going to hit or some bullshit.
Well, either way, I mean, obviously this guy doesn't probably have any chance in hell. But I mean, like, the scenario would be if there's this historically low turnout election that the Republicans do come out for.
Mm-hmm. Republicans win low turnout elections.
Yeah,
that has been the thing
vote,
for the last 40 years, 50 years.
The same people have voted Republican in every election. A few die, a few more are born. That's it. That's all that changes. And if that happened to the point where Democratic turnout was so low that Trump could win, and you had a Republican gubernatorial candidate in Washington who was playing to that crowd, who was doing the Trump thing of I don't give a fuck and I'm going to say all this crazy right-wing shit, who knows, maybe. We can get people excited on that. You could ride that wave, but this doesn't seem like it's going to do that. But yeah, we'll see in the debates, I guess.
Maybe he's just going to drive all around Eastern Washington, just firing a gun in the air with a big sign behind him. Well, Colin, you know, I have stayed on the Trump train that Trump's going to win ever since Biden got the nomination, mainly because I don't want to have to like refill out my ballot and everything. But Greg, I think I'm slowly making Greg cynical enough to join me on this train. Where are you at, Colin?
You mean the Trump train?
Yeah. Or do you think Trump's gonna win, or are you? I think Biden's gonna win.
No, I still think he's gonna win. And there was a brief moment where I thought he could lose, but I agree. I think that turnout nationwide is going to be down where it matters for a variety of reasons. And I mean, we know we've seen this play out before. Biden's polling worse than Clinton was in all the states that matter at the same time. His brain is even more jello than Trump's. What hope do they have of winning those states? I mean, we know that all the Sorkin, coastal Dems are going to come out with their pussy hats and vote Biden, but it doesn't matter. So,
yeah. Well, like, I think the question was like when all this started, the pandemic and the economic collapse, it was like, yeah, normally under any circumstances for the last 50 years, you would go, oh, this will fuck the incumbent president, but we're seeing it not sink in. It's not sinking in. It's not the death toll is not having a cultural impact at all. People do not have any concept. Most people, even nobody has any concept of this relative to the only thing that matters, the only thing you could possibly judge it against, because it is like a meteor hitting the earth. It is something that people have no experience with, and so the only way you can judge it as a populace is against other countries, and like to know how bad should it be, and America's completely incapable of doing that. Certainly most of America is. It's certainly the people, I mean, in this race that we have now between an aging Democrat and the Republican incumbent that nobody cares about and the Republican incumbent that pisses everybody off, the only thing that matters is like the Democratic strategy of convincing Republicans not to vote for Trump, right? Like that's not a good way to win an election. The better way would have been, say, blowing it out by 30 fucking points with Bernie. But we foreclosed on that, and the Democrats are now, strategizing to win it by 0.5%. And the strategy for that is to get a few Republicans to defect. And thing is, no one's absorbing this shit, and everyone else is gonna tune out for that reason. So
totally.
Now the economic side of it is truly hellacious. But I've been saying all along, like, there's a real question about whether the impact of this can sink in nationally, because we don't have a press that even can has the tools or the inclination to make people understand, like your average people in America, because it would give the game away. They can't admit, even if they say numbers, blah blah blah, this and that, they can't say to America, the American economic system like is crumbling and will never come back and is a total disaster. Like, no, they just keep talking about what shape the recovery is going to be, right?
Mm.
The latest letter of the alphabet I heard was K.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Which is cool. But again, it's not on this culturally pervasive level. It's not. It's going to be this time next year that it sinks in on an overall level. Meanwhile, the people who it is sinking in for are just the poorest fucking people in America, most of whom never voted anyway.
Yeah.
So all these people getting evicted are just people who are either never voted or they're city-dwelling Democratic voters who are getting kicked out of their apartments. Meanwhile, all the fucking car dealership owners are going to get through this fine. They're still going to vote for Trump. All the beautiful boaters out there, like Jesus, the regattas, flotillas, whatever they are the rallies of 2016, right? Like the.
Yeah, Colin, were you able to get your boat out on the water for the Trump days?
I didn't quite make it for that. Yeah.
Well, all this negativity aside, me and Greg talked about this last time, but I have confirmed there will be 3 in-person debates.
Hell yeah.
Between Trump and Biden, where Biden can use his razor sharp intellect to win people over. But the funny part is they changed all the locations of the debates from their original locations. And the second debate was originally going to be at the University of Michigan, is now taking place in Miami, continuing the Democrat tradition of refusing to go to Michigan before an election. So that makes me very confident that this will go well.
The debates are going to be horrifying. I mean, Biden will spend the whole time like just talking about what he's not going to do.
Yeah.
Well, and he's going to look like a horrifying wax statue that has come to life. But yeah,
like he's already in the Hall of Presidents.
Yeah, basically. But it was
with Mr. Biden
was crazy. The thing that you were talking about today, right? That it was like 51% of what people 18.
This is people out this week.
Yep.
Unfucking real. In America, 52% of young adults are living at home. When I say young adults, people between 18 and 29. 52% of 18 to 29-year-olds are living with their parents right now.
Yeah.
As of this month.
Which if people,
everyone's getting fucking evicted.
Yeah, and think about like if you would understand how insane this is and what a dire situation this is, imagine, listener, living with your own parents. All right? And how horrifying that would be.
Hell. I did it when I was like about 30 or 31 for a few months when I moved back from California. And I was like, it'll be a month, maybe 2 while I get a place. Ended up being like 5 months. I thought, oh, whatever. I need to look. Of course, it was incredibly hard to find a fucking place to live in Seattle. So it took a while. But day 3, I was like, oh shit, I did not realize how fucking awful this would be. Like it was like a major hit to my mental health. Like I got on medication for the first time because of that episode. Okay.
When I go to like visit my parents, even though I know there's like a deadline, like 4 days from now, I'm gonna leave. Like, but I'm staying at their place. I'm already like, I fucking hate this so much. But yeah, this is tragic. But the thing I would bring up about that is that, Biden today had some tweet where he was like, if you elect me, I'll try and get $15 an hour minimum wage or whatever. Which, certainly Obama never fucking would agree to any of that. But one, everybody knows Biden's not actually going to do this. And two, like, when 52% of people 18 to 29 have to live at home because their situation's so bad, what the fuck is 15 an hour going to do for them? Like, we've passed the Band-Aids. Like, the Band-Aids aren't going to get anywhere.
$15 an hour. Who gives a shit? They'll be so busy not doing all the things that need to be done. Passing upping the minimum wage to $15 an hour will roll off their back. Like, oh yeah, fuck, yeah, seems like it's kind of low, I guess. Whatever. While they're busy absolutely foreclosing on a Green New Deal or Medicare for All or fucking just anything real to combat everything that's going on here, they might just go like, yeah, I mean, sure, $15 an hour. Whatever.
Well, basically, once Congress makes passes a debt collection law for landlords that allows them to turn your debt over to fucking Blackwater to to collect the $5,000 in late fees they accrued during the pandemic on your rent, you're not going to care about the $15 an hour.
When we get into the full the full breadth of this economic crisis, when you have all these people having been evicted and foreclosed on, and the moral narratives begin, the moral hazard, and all these people who
the profligate renter,
they were living in apartment pods that were beyond their means.
What were they thinking? Getting 82 square feet.
Yeah. This will be the great the political capital that Biden needs to complete what he started with the 2005 bankruptcy bill and finally just do away with all bankruptcy.
Yeah.
All personal bankruptcy.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I, for one, look forward to the million articles and eventually a TV show on TLC about subletting your apartment.
Yeah.
Now,
if you understand, because of the 2005 bankruptcy bill, to actually qualify for a good old-fashioned no-asset bankruptcy where all your debts are wiped away and you pay nothing, you have to be a real shiftless motherfucker. You have to be real fucking broke and hopeless. And if you can get away with it, it's a great deal.
Yeah. So I just wanted to read this little short bit that kind of applies to this real fast. So, of course, when the bankruptcy bill when bankruptcy court eventually gets done away with and turned into that fucking court from the
bankruptcy court is no bankruptcy.
Yeah, they'll just be it'll be that court from the third Batman film where fucking the Scarecrow just fucking rolls over you. It's gonna be that, but for other people, it's going to be a little different. And this was from a Seattle Times article about the controversy over protesting tactics. And there's this little bit in here that I just really loved, which was more than 100 businesses in the downtown core, Belltown, Chinatown, International District, and Capitol Hill have been damaged in protests since May 30th. While the pandemic-spurred recession has shuttered nearly 140 businesses in the city, according to the Downtown Seattle Association. Some merchants around Broadway and the Pike Pine corridor say sales are down by around half their normal summer revenues. Now, they go on to blame this on the protests, right? So this is going to be... So for the rest of us, we will get a moral narrative about the profligate renter who, was reached beyond their grasp for that to get to the triple digits in square footage. But you
wanted your own personal toilet. You with your minimum wage job. You, a McDonald's worker who wanted to shit in and clean your own personal toilet.
Yeah.
You couldn't do with a hot plate on a counter. No, you wanted a whole microwave.
You want a toilet, you have to pay a little more than $1,500 a month, my friend. But for everybody,
it's just irresponsible.
Yeah.
To put 75% of your income into your rent. That's just, that just shows financial illiteracy.
For the urban capitalists, though, this is going to be their excuse. Just like Boeing is going to be like, we're going bankrupt, not because of a plane, because we build planes that crash. It's because of COVID. Every major American city, every business is basically, the bigger ones are going to come in, hand out basically saying, protests. Otherwise, we would have had 100% of the business we had last year if it weren't for these protests. Gimme. Money machine go burr.
Strata you occupy capital, the blame will be shifted one level down, right? So for all these fucking dog shit companies that have hollowed themselves out for stock buybacks and dividends, that are worthless and run by fucking coked up idiots and crashing planes and killing people and whatever else, they will get to go, guys, it was COVID. Do you remember the pandemic? But if you do not traffic in capital, then
maybe you traffic in owning 18 restaurants in the Seattle area.
Yeah, if you just miss some payments on your house, you'll be like, guys, COVID. No. That was your personal fail.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Just like the 2008 crisis. If you're a major American bank, no problem. But if you are a homeowner, fuck you.
Well, it's so simple. I mean, it's just like how Trump can go like, listen, if it wasn't for me, this would be a lot worse. Like, would there even be a fast track for a vaccine? But in this case, it'll be like, a modern capitalist, very wealthy, best country in the world should be able to weather a pandemic economically, but for all the poor choices of its poor citizens who ruined it for all of us with their rented furniture on their Discover card.
So yes, I look forward to all of our, like I said, local restaurant magnates claiming and probably getting massive, fucking bailout money from somebody. Basically, that the protests are why they're not getting business like they did last summer, and I'm very excited for this to come to life.
Right, because for the big companies, it's like it's actually their own fault, but they'll blame COVID and they'll get the bailout. Mm-hmm. For
on the ground companies,
it'll be. If it's COVID, it's, well, fuck you. That's just the economy. Go fuck yourself. Mm. So they'll have to, blame the protests, and that'll work somehow.
Yeah, so that's pretty sweet. Pretty excited. So how are you feeling, Colin? You happy to be back on the show?
It's great to be back on the show, but I mean, it's just so hard to keep living with the reality of the world as it is. I mean, like you said, Greg, I was actually literally just talking about this with my dad today. It's like 1,000 people every day are dying in America alone, right? Still, like, for months. And no one
rate than anywhere. Most countries, even underdeveloped countries in Africa, doing fucking gangbusters with this shit, like not really having a problem.
Yeah, and no one cares. No one cares at all. Nobody cares. And I think that is the thing. It's like and Culp's campaign, even he's talking about, like, you're talking about homelessness. Why is that the chief issue, right? It's because there are so many people who are so comfortable, and the status quo for them is only marginally decreased. And for, the other 50% of people, it's kind of life or death.
When I just looked, and we're at 189,000 dead in the U.S.
Yeah.
So that means by the time this gets out, we'll be out
long before the fucking election. It's gonna be 250.
Oh yeah, we'll be well over 190 by the time this comes out. But I did see that they were going to stop posting new numbers for the weekend. So like they would save it till Monday, right, and not post them on Saturday and Sunday anymore. So at least the weekends.
So you can have you can have a great weekend and just not think about it.
Weekends are for the boys again. So.
Well, and then the fact that it's like 100 days of people protesting police violence, and no one cares. Nothing's happening with that. No one's talking about it.
No, it's been very clear. Like the enormous uprisings have been truly inspiring. People coming out in solidarity against the brutalization, the constant terror of poor Black and brown communities by the blue shirts, and no effect on our supposedly democratic society. Just absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
In this town or anywhere else. I mean, nothing. Just absolute zero.
And I mean, I think you said it on Twitter, Greg. It is like hypernormalization. We're just so inured in everything. It's like, well, this is just normal now. 1,000 people die every day. I'm not one of them, so it's fine.
Yeah.
People get killed by the police. I'm not one of them, so it's fine.
It's people die every day, I guess. It's just going to be the motto that we all chant to ourselves in our mirror.
Large parts of America are literally more upset about the protests themselves than the now more than 700 people who've been killed by American police just this year.
Yeah.
And it's just so, I don't know, it's so shameful.
Violent.
It's so
disgusting. This is the diseased society.
And then like again, like you said, Greg, where's the leadership? Like is anybody driving the car, or is it just inertia taking us off the fucking cliff? Like everyone's just kind of hoping.
It does happen to societies.
Well,
inertia just takes them off a cliff. Like it's not some thing that can't happen.
Well, it feels like we're the car's halfway off the cliff, and it probably is going to go all the way off in November.
That funny part where you're walking back and forth, or trying to get something off the dashboard before you get out of the car.
Yeah. Not to mention the fact, like Brian said, the world's on fire. I mean, like what future? 52% of Zoomers are living at home.
Yeah, no future at all. Like
they have like $8,000 or something like to their name.
The entire generation combined.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, I was going to say, I have like a good job. I don't have $8,000, but I feel like every park bench in America would have no future carved into it, like fucking Terminator 2, except for the fact that nobody can go to the parks anymore. Like it really is like everything is foreclosed. It's truly astonishing, and it is one of those things. I remember for a long time, people used to always say, if things get worse, then things will change around here. And boy, are we finding out that's not true.
I mean, listen. Do not discount that so many millions of people have come out in the street in solidarity. Against this disgusting society. But it's just gonna take a lot more than that. It's gonna take a lot fucking more. And if this moment passes and that lesson has been learned, all those people have been radicalized and learned that lesson, are ready to go bigger the next time and bigger the next time after that. Well, but I mean, sure, then that's hopeful. I mean, I want to be hopeful about the uprisings in general, because it is beautiful to see people, and still to this day out in the street. But so many people in this country, literally millions, have at least been out there once or twice. And but what else? That's all you can. That's the only hope you can possibly cling to. But that is so far from any actual motion on anything. Because we've answered the question: can sustained protest move a small, like what is a relatively small needle through our current democratic process, through our current form of government? Relative to the problems of climate change or something, fucking doing anything about the police is nothing, right?
Yeah.
Now you can talk about the super structural reasons why that is in the case of police in general, but either way, it must, without getting into that sort of theoretical level about the nature of police under capitalism, it's got to have. A lot of people have got to have tuned into the fact that they thought they were living in a democracy and they were fucking wrong, right? If you thought, oh yeah, if there are reasonable demands and it's really seen to be needed and people are backing it in the street, you would think some tiny fucking minor joke of something would come along to at least appease people. No, nothing anywhere. This is this city right here has gotten closer than almost anywhere else, and dog shit. Absolute dog shit.
Yeah, I wanted to read real quick. I saw this right before the show started. It's a tweet from friend of the show, Sean Scott. But he had tweeted referencing the current, police SPD wilding out downtown literally right now. 3 months into a new civil rights movement, the Seattle Police Department continues using pepper spray despite repeated denunciation by city officials and an ordinance forbidding them to do so. Nobody in city government has the ability to make them stop. Reform is a sham. And that's the lesson, right?
Which is why I think, again, while there's never any point where we haven't been aware of the role of police under capitalism on the Seattle Sucks podcast, we've also been very enthusiastic about this particular locus of action in the class war, and it's because that it shows. Look what it shows. Look how many people have had to stare down the barrel of this reality and realize it is a gun in their face, and like that there's not a fucking thing they can do.
Yeah.
there is no reforming the system, and there is no movement on fuck all through a democratic process that we have now.
Yeah.
We just elected what everyone's saying we're the most progressive council. And sure enough, look, that's true to a degree
because these people got closer than anybody else. But they've backed down. They did one little thing, and not everyone hailed them in the street for it. The Seattle Times, the mayor, and the police chief whined about it, and they're backpedaling. So it's pathetic.
Yeah. Well, good times all around.
Yeah.
Well, Colin, friend of the show. Colin, if I could take you on a little aside real quick, then we'll edit out.
Sure.
Brian,
Greg did not have his mic on.
You did the sound.
All right, Colin. Hey, man. Thanks for being a very special guest on the show today. Is there anything you'd like to promote?
No, not a single thing.
Not parenting.
I cannot think of a single thing right now. I'm
Cool.
sorry.
Well, we're glad to have you back. Hopefully you'll be back all the time now.
I hope so too. We'll see.
And thanks for listening, everybody, to 100 episodes of Seattle Sucks, which is, like I said, really like 160 or something.
Yeah, there's literally hundreds of episodes on Patreon. At least 200
Thanks,
episodes.
everybody. It's been fun.
All right. Bye.